So before we continue with the video, I want to talk to you guys about where I got this shirt from, and you probably guessed it, jerseyfifa.com. They have kindly sponsored today's video and also sent me a load of free shirts for me to check out myself, and I can now really vouch for the quality of these products. They have loads of shirts to offer on the website, so if you are interested, head to the link in the description down below and check out Jersey FIFA for yourself. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening everybody, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel. Wherever you are in the world watching this, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another tactical preview, where today we're doing things a little bit differently. Of course we are previewing Manchester United versus Brentford, but we're not going to do it in the same way that we normally do. Now the way that we normally do these is I will say Manchester United versus, I don't know, Arsenal for example. This is what I would do, how I would set up, it's how Manchester United could beat Arsenal. We're not going to do that today. Instead, we're going to say this is actually what I think is going to happen. Because what I think we're in line for here is actually a really, really predictable football match. What we're going to talk about today, I would be very, very surprised if we don't see these themes during the game. Like, I'm very confident they will happen. And unfortunately for Manchester United and Mr. Erik ten Hag here, it's going to be really, really difficult. And the reason for that is because Thomas Frank's side is set up almost, not perfectly, but set up in a really nice way to cause problems for Manchester United. So that's obviously going to be a problem. So that's what we're talking about today. And of course, you know, it's going to start at the back. Let's just get straight into it. It's going to start with Manchester United trying to play out from the back. We know that's what Ten Hag ideally wants his side to do, but they aren't too good at doing it. And the reason for that is because they don't have those first phase players who can drop a shoulder, you know, draw pressure in, drop a shoulder, get past a man and move the team forward. United really lack that. So that's going to cause a problem when playing out against almost anyone. However, it's made worse against this Brentford system. And the reason for that is because they will press with a front two, with Ivan Toney and Mbeumo moving on to the two Manchester United centre-backs. Now, you might think this maybe leaves the fullbacks free. No, it doesn't, because the two Brentford wing-backs will also be adventurous and come all the way forward on a high press. So the four Manchester United defenders are all being marked out of the game, and with De Gea not being the best passing goalkeeper in the world, it's going to make life quite difficult. What we also will see is a man-to-man press in the midfield as well. Whether Manchester United are in a 4-3-3 like this, or in a 4-2-3-1 with Bruno at the tip, either way, Brentford will go man-for-man like so. And again, it's going to make it incredibly difficult for United to play out from. Now, this is difficult for the best teams to play through. We saw Arsenal 2 months ago, I think it was now, played against Brentford and struggled with this. They're very good at it though. So if they struggled, I dread to think the problems which Manchester United might face. Because simply they don't have the technical profile of midfield. Now you might say maybe you could change the starting 11, but I think you need the size of McTominay because Brentford are very physical and also very good on set pieces. I think you need the energy and the jewels of Fred, and you know, Bruno Fernandes we all know is a key player in this side, so I think it has to be that midfield three. This is going to cause a problem. How do you play out through it? Well, I don't think Manchester United will have the answers to that. Now, potentially one way which they could, and we won't kind of dwell on this for too long, but one thing they could do is build possession in more of a back three like this, and potentially move Fred further forward and try and build out in deeper areas like this. And the reason for this is because obviously now the two strikers can't go man for man because it's a 3 rather than a 2. But also it kind of causes some question marks over the wing backs. Henry here, for example. Does he come all the way high on Dalot or does he sit on Anthony? And the same for Hickey on this side. So that's maybe a way which you could ask a question of Brentford. However, if we're talking about how I think the game is actually going to play out, which is the aim of this video, then I think it's unlikely. I think United will stick with their normal shape and Brentford will get joy from that. Therefore, Manchester United, in my opinion, have to go long from goal kicks, from the goalkeeper, in open play, set pieces, whatever. Get the ball long. The further the better. And the reason for this is because it puts Brentford on the back foot. If we watch some of the top teams at the moment, or certainly some of the top distributing goalkeepers, we're talking Diogo Costa at Porto, we're talking Ramsdale, we're talking Ederson, but even Alisson at Liverpool. They get their kicks not only far but accurate as well, but it's actually the distance which I'm interested in today. And there's a reason for that, and it's because it changes where you are duelling with people, which changes which side has the momentum. Let's say, for example, you play long from the goal kick and it goes towards the halfway line. Typically, who is around the halfway line is going to be the midfield. Even if it is the centre-backs, let's say they knock it down and it comes to the midfield, what happens is you've got a bunch of players who were starting in this position already, so they're kind of a little bit flat-footed, a little bit under the ball, and it makes it very much a 50-50 battle. Can Manchester United win the 50-50 battle against this Brentford team from a physical and an intensity point of view? I'm not sure. However, if De Gea can go longer, and let's say Me is then heading the ball, what that does is it gives United a different way of attacking it, because if De Gea's kicks go further, it changes the way that you approach it. As the ball comes this way, you've now got Jensen running towards the ball with kind of his back to play, and McTominay coming from behind him. And what that means is that the Manchester United players have a bit more momentum moving into it, which makes them more likely to win the duel. So the longer that De Gea can go, the better. These need to be really... Sorry, let's get the wing-backs out of the way. These need to be really long, direct goal kicks. And again, the further the better, because it gives United a chance. And ultimately, this is the most important battle on the football pitch in most games, but in this particular one. Who can win the 1-versus-1 battle? For me, probably where the game is won and lost. You know, if Bruno Fernandes can win his ball in here, then suddenly you can play forward. Because obviously what we can see is that whilst Brentford are putting all these players forward on the press, it does leave gaps at the back. If the centre-backs are going to split to try and deal with Antony and Rashford, there are gaps there which you might be able to get into. So if United can win this first contact, but more importantly actually the second contact, they could get into really good positions, and that's why Fernandes is important, because he then has the ability to find a pass. However, if Brentford win the ball and it heads down into this area and Jensen's able to get on it, we can see that Brentford are then in a dangerous position. This really could be all about who wins the midfield battle. Not only the first contact, but again, the second contact is really important. The second ball, United have to sweep up and get on that. Now again, obviously, that is very, very important in this game, because Brentford are also going to be playing long, particularly towards Tony on Lisandro Martinez. I think they might try and exploit that. But Raya is a very good long passer, so Brentford will also go long, and again, it creates the same situations. So, you know, this second ball is important for two reasons. One, it's the intensity, the direction which the ball is moving, but also what we need to see is quality on the ball from Manchester United. We know that McTominay can give the ball away, Fred can give the ball away, Fernandes can give the ball away. If that happens, what we will see is very much an end-to-end game where it's going to be very physical and it's going to be all about the individual duels, which I'm not sure United will win. Now, it depends what United show up, really. If it's the Barcelona one from the new camp, Manchester United could win those battles in midfield and really get on the front foot. If it's the Manchester United that we saw at the weekend against Newcastle, then they probably lose these second balls. The intensity has to be there to win it. However, as well as intensity, you need quality. You can't give the ball away in these areas. If United are able to get control on the ball, occasionally take the extra touch and slow it down, they could get into some really good positions. Again, because it allows someone like Rashford to now get on the ball in space, but also because if they're willing to slow down and at times even go backwards or sideways, slow it down, it could give United the chance to build possession in a bit more of a structured fashion. If this is the case, Brentford will drop off into a 5, whereas before it was a back 3 with the wing backs really high. They would then drop into more of a 5-3-2 sort of shape. Got the midfielders in here and a front 2, and this could give Manchester United the opportunity to build some possession. Now, in terms of how would United go about doing that, the best solution would be to build possession in a back 3, because as I often say, if you've got 2 strikers, you need 3 defenders to outnumber them and allow this stepping outside of them. So that would be important. We could see Shaw potentially pushing forward, Fred and McTominay in a double pivot, something like this. This is the shape that Manchester United could use, a 3-2-5 or a 3-2-4-1. Again, as always, the rotations will be important. Sometimes Shaw is high and wide, sometimes he's inside, sometimes he's deeper. Fred might be high and wide, up inside in the channel. There's a few different ways in which it could work. However, I think this shape could be important, because whilst Brentford have a back 5, which is very good, and they have a front 2, which is nice to use, it does leave them a little bit light in midfield. With only 3 central midfielders with no natural wingers either side of them, it makes it a little bit more difficult for them to shuffle from side to side across the pitch. Let's say United are building down the right-hand side, and then the left-hand side, then they move back out to the right-hand side. With just 3 players across this plane, it makes it a little bit more difficult for Brentford to shuffle across. And this is where United could have success. And it's why I would like to see the 3-2-4-1 shape, simply because it gives United this box in midfield. So if you can get past the 2 strikers, which, you know, Dallo and Lisandro Martinez in particular should be able to do, this box midfield of Shaw, Fred, Fernandes, McTominay, of course it can rotate again, but up against 3 Brentford midfielders, it could give United the opportunity to work some overloads and get into good areas. And that's going to be really, really crucial, because they don't have some other things which often works for United. Something I talk about a lot is that if you're facing a back 4, United often attack in a front 5, it allows them to outnumber it. That won't be the case in this game with Brentford being in the back 5. So they have to create the overload somewhere else. I think the midfield could be the place to do it. And I think maybe if you can get Luke Shaw in this area here and Bruno Fernandes in this little half space, early crosses could be a good way of hurting this Brentford team. Now, again, it's about execution. The cross has to be good from Fernandes or Shaw. The movement from Weghorst has to be good. Raya, to be fair, is a really good keeper at claiming crosses, so it isn't going to be easy. But it could allow United to get into some good positions. Also, if they move the ball quickly in this area, we could still see quick interchanging football. in these areas. That's what happens when you have quality players on the pitch like Manchester United do. That could lead to some success. And also, even though they may not have the numerical advantage in this area with a 5, they probably still have the better individual quality. So, you know, Rashford up against Hickey is a battle which you back Marcus Rashford in. So, United can get themselves in the positions to get into good areas and cause some good problems. If this happens, then I think that over a 90-minute match, Manchester United have the quality to cause problems and hurt Brentford and get the goals that they need. The question for me, really, is can they match the intensity of Brentford? To me, it seems very unlikely that Brentford are going to come into this game a little bit slow and laboured and lethargic. Brentford are going to be flying in this game. It's going to be super intense, super physical, there in the duels, the first ball, the second ball, even the third ball. Brentford will be challenging it. If you allow Brentford to win those, they will win this football match because they're so dangerous in quick transitions thanks to like the strength and the running of Tony, but also his linkability and also Mbeumo as well. They have a really good understanding and they hit you hard and fast. So Manchester United have to win the duels, they have to compete. But also having competed and won the ball, they then need quality. We don't need to see any of this Bruno Fernandes play where he boots it forward every time looking for a killer pass the second he gets the ball. United don't need that in this game. They need a bit more slow possession, a bit more control, sideways at times, backward at times, keep the ball moving from side to side, actually try and take control. If they do that, their system could allow them to have some success in these spaces outside of the Brentford midfield. Whether or not that happens remains to be seen, because we have seen plenty of games this season where Ten Hag has set the side up really well from a tactical point of view. It looks like they should exploit the opposition, but the players don't turn up. There's a risk that that happens again, and like I said, if that happens, then Thomas Frank's side really could hurt United, and it could be a really bad night for them. However, if the players are on it and they make it work, there is again the potential for Manchester United to have success. So we are just going to have to wait and see. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. What would your starting 11 be? Would you do it a little bit differently to me? I think a few people might. What do you think are Brentford's strengths and weaknesses? What are you worried about? Where do you think United can hurt them? All of that, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Also, if you could subscribe to the channel, it would be greatly appreciated. The subscriber count has slowed down a little bit lately, so if we could get that going again, it would be great. Apart from that though, thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoy the match. And as always, I will see you in the next one.